Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up, Kodo Cube? How are you doing with one less hour of sleep? Pretty good, given the circumstances. How about you? I don't know, do you have time change where you live? Or summertime, wintertime, whatever it's called? It was a month ago, okay. Yeah, it's pretty nice these days that most of the devices changes time automatically, you know? But yeah, still. But okay, let's see what we are working with here. We're currently working with automatically generating bones, automatic procedurally skin a mesh to these bones, and yeah, we want to make that work with our, or we want to add this logic to our graph system, so when we generate our creatures we can define how it should be procedurally generated using this graph system or nodes here. I'm still not entirely sure, honestly, if I think this is a good idea or not. I guess we're gonna have to find out today. What I'm talking about here is that we basically generate one high-res model and one low-res model, and for the low-res model we take every vertex in the low-res model and spawn a bone on it, or pretty much transforms every vertex into a bone. CodeCube, I missed the lecture that day, but thank God for a study group. I literally go to 2-3 lectures a week, so I can have a second job on those days. It's a hectic life. Okay, so let's just land in where we are at currently. So as for this one, low res and high res, could we do something else? I've been thinking, like, if we take a look at this one and we put it like this, I mean, we get, for this model, we get pretty good bone points. I just don't know, like, yeah, we talked about rotating every other group as well. I think we have done that here, actually. Yo, what's up, John Olson? I missed a bit, but I guess the idea is to be able to split the blobs in runtime so you can slash them in combat. That would be pretty cool, but we're not going to do any blob slashing in this game. I just want to be able to generate a lot of different blobs and have them behave differently, pretty much. Like, we're getting some weird physics behavior for this one, actually. Mass 5. If we were to split them, I would probably go with some SDF method, I guess. I guess it's a pretty good... It's not as good as... John Olson, but what if you hit them with your leak? Yeah, we're gonna be able to hit them and they are gonna jiggle in a very nice fashion. But that's about it. I don't think we're gonna split them. So maybe we can jiggle them like this. Like this. So if we hit them with the leak, it's gonna look something like this. We need to update the normals as well. And also, or they could grow over time and split when they get big enough, and that's how they reproduce. That's actually hella interesting gameplay mechanic. Like my placeholder idea for reproducing has always been like the Viva Pinata way. Just get two creatures to have a heart above them or feel really good, and then during the night it happens, you know, off screen ish. But yeah, we'll see. That would be pretty cool. Code Cube, I just did a playtest for my game earlier today, and after improving the sound engine to add realistic dynamic reverb and muffling, I got 31% higher ratings on average. Oh, nice. Code's a creature game animal abuse update. I'm also wondering, like, how much of abuse are we gonna... Okay, maybe one should be able to hit the blobs with the leak, but I don't think we should be able to slash them. I did something very similar to this for my ultrasound follicle thing that I did for work. Rigged spheres like this, but I ran into issues with scaling them down and overlapping. Could you please add a mode where the game turns from stylized to a UE looking game and just shoot the hell out of all your creatures? That sounds like Palworld, doesn't it? Let me just add one thing here. Blob test. We need to add this one, I think. And I don't know if this is the best. I mean, this works for getting updated normals and tangents. It's just, I'm wondering if it's the best approach. We have proper normals for this one now, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Um, I wonder if we would like to have... Okay, I think the best idea is to actually just implement this in the render graph. Like I said last week, we not the render graph, but we implement this in our graph toolkit, and then we can like display all different properties, and then we can try a lot of different setups at once, you know. Because there's a lot of different parameters here to like making this look nice and whatnot. In maybe a bit too thick-ish. Okay, let's start by... Let's try and split this into tasks now. I'm wondering if we're gonna... keep doing it with this approach. So one high res and one low res model. We take the low res and create Okay, so the first thing I want to fix here is I want to be able to make dynamic mesh generator editor node or node. This one should be able to return a list of vertices as well. But then we have the problem, like, I think in this example we have, yeah, we still have this where we rotate half of them. CodeCube, I've always dreamed ever since I was messing around in Gary's mod that someone sees my work and enjoys it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of us that has that idea or that dream. Yeah, exactly. I appreciate the Jap. So if we're, like, what we're doing here is that we're taking every other row and we're rotating it to get a little better distribution of the joints. But I think we can wait with this one. So what we're gonna start with is make dynamic, what do we call it? Dynamic mesh generator. That's the first thing. And then we do let's see here. But the biggest problem I see here is now we're introducing list of stuff into this graph node, which is like we want to get rid of that as soon as possible. So most of these outputs and inputs are one object, so one dynamic mesh, one game object. But now we're gonna add a object or a output here that is a list of vertices, and we're gonna take that list of vertices and create bones. Well, I don't know. I wonder if... What do we need here? Create bones, vertices. We just send in vertices, but... Is it only the position we use? Vertex. Now we use position, normal. Do we actually... Yeah, we use the position and we use the normal. We also use the binormal. That's true. Yeah, we don't need this. Yes, what I think we're actually gonna do here is... We're gonna create a node. Make a node that takes a list of vertices and returns a list of custom... Well, actually, no. Make a node that takes a list of vertices and skins a mesh to these, pretty much. I think we're gonna keep the bone stuff internal, you know? So we're gonna rewrite this one, which I think we were already doing, actually. I just don't know where. Mesh skinner. We were in the process of rewriting this skinning method, inverse square root exponential. Okay. I think we're gonna do this first. Okay, before we dive into this one, I'm just gonna run and grab a cup of coffee. One sec. Okay, back. Sorry about that. So I think weight exponent and weight scale and stuff like that, we're gonna keep those. Wonder really like if do I really want to have this in a static class like this, or should we just keep it in a node class? Yeah, we're probably gonna have it in a node class, honestly. Yeah. Or fuck, I can't decide. Yeah, and then we're gonna add this as well, that's true. And collider. Okay, honestly, let's just take it from here. Let's just implement node by node by node. Let's take, so pretty much this full flow or pipeline we have in the test 2. Let's just take all of this and convert it into nodes, starting with this one. Yo, what's up, Antonino? So let's see here, scripts. Oh, did we actually do this? Because is this one used anywhere? Yeah, this one is probably gonna be used for... Okay. Yeah, so we want to add something similar to this. We want to add a... I think we want to add a vertex list. I don't think we can. Let's try it. Let's do... I don't think we can have a default list here with vertices or yeah. We're gonna have to create a container class pretty much. But let's see here. Generators, dynamic mesh generator. Let's try and add a... Now the question is, can we do something like this? Add output port list vector 3. I'm very skeptical, but... one sec. Okay, back. Sorry about that. So let's see. Can we actually do this? Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Yo, what's up, Derek? So I'm wondering... This isn't as clear as I would like it to be, but I mean, that's up to us, pretty much. So if we do this list of vertex, CodeCube, I'm wondering if it actually has something to do with the time change. Could be. But should we just... Let's just run with this. Let's just run with a list of vertex. So let's add Antonino, Derek, Cody Cube, and me build the Robin trio, and I appreciate the trio. And as for the animal abuse stuff, it's taken way out of context, and I refuse to elaborate more. Where do we have... Okay, I need to clean up these classes. They are a little bit of a mess. Yo, what's up, Ado? Where do we have... We don't use these here anymore, do we? Oh, we do. Okay, never mind. Dynamic mesh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Like, I'm wondering if I want to do something like this. If we jump to vertex, and I'm wondering if I want to do public static string. Oops. Okay, if I want to work with strings here, or define the strings here. Let's try it and see how it feels. So we can do internal name. Actually, we're gonna go with this. And then I wonder if I also want to have display singular name and public static string display plural name vertices. Like something like this, which we can use in our nodes here then. So it would be vertex dot internal name. But then again, if we have multiple input and output vertices, we're gonna have to add some numbering to it, but that's okay. And then we're gonna have the plural name here. I wonder if this is a clean way to do it. We're gonna work a lot with like custom types and classes like this. It's just because I want to try and avoid stuff like this too much. So here, point 1 internal, point 2 internal, and so on and so on. Here we would just define something in a triangle, I guess. So here, v1, v2, v3. I don't know. We'll see. But public const string. Yeah, that's probably a better way. Better. Or do we want to have public static read only? And then we remove this one. I don't know if the compiler would... whatever. Okay, so if we add two outputs like this, if I remember correctly, we have another node that has two different outputs. I think it's the dynamic slice one. A bug-seeking cat sounds pretty good, CodeCube, if true, if true. So here we have two different outputs. I want to see how we handle that in dynamic mesh slice runtime node. Can output, we check two outputs like this. Also generate output, and then we have output index, which we use here. Yes, and the thing is, yeah, we set both. So when we ask for one of the things, we set both of them. We're gonna have to do something similar in... I think it's gonna be pretty easy, actually. Okay, let's see here. So in the editor node, we add a second output. It's gonna be vertex plural name. So we're gonna output a list of vertices. And then we jump to dynamic mesh generator runtime node. And we just change, let's see here, it's compatible with connection. What do we have? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's true. Can output. So here we return if type t is equal to, if output index is 0, this, otherwise if output index is equal to 1, type of list of vertices. So this might actually be, can we do type of list like this? Feels a little bit weird, doesn't it? And then we want to generate... actually, we have data, so we can go primitives.vertex, right? Or data.primitives.vertex. Can we do it like this? Antonino, I'm in the office. I had a hamstring cramp and fell to the floor in pain. My body refuses to continue living in my condition. Yeah, that definitely doesn't sound good, my man. You need to take care of yourself. Like the pain that comes with cramps sometimes, it's insane. Okay, the problem as I see it here is I would love to Okay, so what we could do is we could add... So the value here is always going to be a dynamic mesh, right? Okay, we can clean this up later on. So the problem is we're gonna do... I guess we're gonna do cache dot set t this output index generate output. How did we do it in here? Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, so we're gonna have to add a lot of things on a lot of these. I think can simplify it a bit, because like the last part of these lines, the last lines in generate output for all of these are the same. So let's fix this by doing... Let's put this method here. Yeah. And then we define a protected. We define a protected dynamic mesh generate dynamic mesh, and I want to make this one abstract. Because when we do generate output here, what I'm thinking is instead we just generate dynamic mesh, and then we let this method here handle the cache and stuff like that. Which makes me wonder, do we not have any cache handling here? Ah, yeah, we don't handle the cache here, that's true. Yeah, so we're gonna have generate dynamic mesh, protected, override dynamic mesh, generate dynamic mesh. Let's see, return data dynamic mesh, create plane. Yes, we want to do all of this here as well. Fuck. We want to get cache here, that's true. Okay, generate, so cache we definitely want. So let's send that one in as well. Do I want to check null here? Maybe we do. So instead of returning... Or actually, no, let's keep... This is how we do it. What the fuck, sorry. This one is what I want to take. So generate dynamic mesh, we send in a ref dynamic mesh, and if it fails and so on. And what do we have? Generate output here. We don't want to have generate output anymore. Instead, we are gonna return. We'll do this. Oops. Dynamic mesh, which is equal to this one. But and return true. Okay, so something like this instead. We're gonna set the cache and we're gonna return the actual value up here, generate output. So you know what? I think we can do it like this. Generate dynamic mesh, generate output. So we rename generate dynamic mesh, ref dynamic mesh, cache. We set dynamic mesh to create cube. Like this, and then return true. Do the same thing here. Okay, so we do it like this. So each subclass now, it doesn't generate the output, it generates a dynamic mesh. And then here, generate output. Fuck, I wish I had one of these left, but pretty much what we want to do is let's just take this, it's here. So we do, this is not what we want to do, but let's see here. We're going to start by doing dynamic mesh. Dynamic mesh is equal to generate dynamic mesh. Ah, fuck me. Do this, and then we do if generate dynamic mesh. If this one fails, we return false. Otherwise, we do, if output index is 0, then we do value is equal to value is equal to t object dynamic mesh. If output index is equal to 1, we do t object dynamic mesh dot vertices. Beautiful. And this is a list of, yeah, that's great. Otherwise false. And then we want to set the cache for both of these. So you know what? Yeah, something like that. And return true. Although Yeah, I think we're gonna run with this. Let's see if everything works as it previously did, or if I screwed it up. Okay, I fucked up. Specified cast is not... Okay, I worried a little bit about this one, actually. So we're probably gonna have to add some sort of container class, I reckon. Antonino, my mind go crazy with database relationships in my mind. Dude, relatable. It feels like that's like a sort of thinking you just need to exercise, and then you get better and better at it. But fucking hell, I remember it being hella confusing initially. Okay, we're gonna see if this is the problem. So I'm gonna add a custom container class here. Transform data. We're gonna have a... Let's just duplicate this one. Oops, I want to rename it before I open it. Whoa. Primitives lists? Hell yeah. Let's delete this one. Oh, what did we use polygon list for now again? Is that for... Hell... Oh, whoa. Now it's all coming back to me. Creature sten. When we procedurally generate sten here, we actually have polygon list here. Get the fuck out. Okay, that's how we want to do it. So let's duplicate this one and call it vertex list. Clear this, open it up, and we do vertex list like this, and which means that I want to go to vertex CS. I want to remove this one, so we're gonna have internal name, display name, and we're gonna have something similar here. Vertex list, public, static, read-only string, internal name, vertex list, vertex list. We're gonna change polygons to vertex, polygon. Vertices, 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 vertices. Let's see if we can make it work with this instead. So that means that we're gonna run to dynamic mesh generator runtime node, and instead of having a, we're gonna have to pack this one into dynamic mesh. Okay, I guess we're gonna do this then. Dynamic mesh mesh. Do we have polygon list here? List. I want to see where polygon list, where's this one used? We use it in dynamic mesh, get polygons. Yeah. Why couldn't I find it? Get vertices. Okay, nice. So I think we're gonna add a get mesh, get random vertex, get random polygon, get polygons. I think we're gonna have a public vertex list, get vertices. Fuck yeah. Return new vertex list vertices. And then in dynamic mesh generator runtime node here, we change like this. Yes. But okay, let's see if this works instead. Oh yeah, we need to change it here as well. So vertex list. How did it look here now? So now we have vertex list here, dynamic mesh, vertex list. Could be clearer, but let's see if this works. Specified cast is not valid. Why do we have a problem here? Specified cast is not valid. Vertex list. Is it because of this one? You know what? Since we can... this should be possible. I'm doing something wrong. Dynamic mesh contains... Why do we get a problem here? And we only get it on 55, right? We don't get it... Yeah, we don't get it here. Vertex list. System serializable, serialized field. What am I missing? Oh, one sec. Is it because of... output count 2? Could it be? I'm very skeptical, but... could it... Okay, one sec. Oh, this is a little bit of a problem here. Okay, I get it. How to get around this? So if we take a look at our dynamic mesh slice, T in this case is... T in this case is always dynamic mesh for both of these. In dynamic mesh generation runtime, this one is vertex list and this one is dynamic mesh, but we try to cast it for as T for both of these. And that sucks. So how to get around this? I'm wondering if we even need to... Can't we just have them as... So if we go to cache... get T, we cast... When we try to get it, we cast it with T. What do we have? Content cache. Yeah, and we just keep it as object. So why the I'm wondering why we even have T as a set here. Maybe we should just do set. We're gonna get a lot of issues with this, but... And we just do object here. Right? Which means that when we set this one here, we don't do a double cast, we just do this. Cast is redundant. Oh, yeah. Isn't this much nicer? Let's see if this works. If it does, this is definitely how I want to do this. Can we just change set? Let's see what this one is being called. You know what? Move all the casts in all. Let's see. Yo, what's up, Scafer? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, let's see if it can manage it. Okay, for fucking daylight savings, summertime, or whatever it's called. I agree 100%. Feels like we should be past it. But like, not. Yeah, when we get something out of here, we definitely want to call or cast it to T like this, but when we set it, we might just go with object. It might actually be much cleaner. Or I would say it definitely is much cleaner. And that also means that we can do something like this. Here we cast it because yeah, we're explicitly asking for something, right? Escape for what we're making today. We're trying to, so like this, all of this procedural, so when we have generated bones and skinned a mesh to those bones and stuff like that, we're trying to like take that implementation that we have and convert it into our graph system. So we should be able to define how, if a creature should have procedurally generated bones through the graph toolkit, pretty much. Hope that makes sense. Rather, so like I want to be able to define the bone setup in a graph like this here. So pretty much take these vertices, have a node that skins this mesh to those bones and so on. Probably want to do it dynamic mesh to mesh with this mesh, I think. Scafer, so you can make a mesh in Blender and use it in your graph. We definitely can do that as well, but that's not what we're gonna do today. File change. Is this actually? What? That's not at all what I wanted. My mistake, that might not have been the best prompt. What I want is... Let's see here. This. Okay. Okay, let's see if it works. Have you used Scafer? Have you used decals in Unity? Actually, no, but I've been wanting to play around with it for quite a while. How about you? Have you used it? And Scafer, they might be useless points to you, but they are... I appreciate it, you know. Maybe someday we'll make them actually matter. The Twitch... What is it? Viewer points, that is? Ooh, this actually works. Okay, nice. This is way better. CodeCube, just like Swedish and Danish people see each other as other species. I don't know if that is true, my man. So pretty much what we're doing today is, just to summarize it once more, is, so this generation we have here, where we generate a set of bones and skin it to the mesh procedurally, we're implementing this in such a way that we can utilize it in the graph system. But okay, so this is one step closer to that. Make it possible for dynamic mesh generator node to return a list of vertices. I think this one is true now. I don't really have a way to test this just yet, but soon we will. So what I want to create now is I want to create a new node. Let me see if I can open up a GitHub issue for this one, or actually add a... Let's see. What was it called? Node. Extend the creature generation graph system. Yeah, this one. Let's see here. Yeah. Make dynamic dynamic mesh generator node. Have a second vertex list output. Antonino, I have to learn how GitHub issues work. Yeah, they are extremely versatile. Scaper, I've used decals, fuck, how do you pronounce it? Anyway, in Unity a long time ago, and don't even remember what's up. But currently I'm trying to use them in Godot, and it's very bad. There are no tools, you just have a node and that's it. Just thought maybe you have an understanding of a good workflow, because I'm going to by my needs and trying to come up with solution myself. Yeah, unfortunately it's the other way around. Like, when you're done with your add-on, please tell me how you did it and what approach you took, because I have zero experience with decals in any game engine. But it's like one of those things I've been eyeing for a long time, like just like soft bodies, honestly, like something I really want to do, but it's further down the pipeline. And then I want to do implement, or let's do add skin mesh node, I think. The problem here is when we do a skin mesh node, I wonder how much of the implementation I actually want to like put in the node itself. Because if we take a look at, what was it called, test. Yeah, if we take a look at this one, it's not as easy as just taking the vertices and adding it, because if you take a look at this, we have we flip the normal. This can probably be an option in the node, but like we flip the normals, we rotate every other row. That's a very specific thing to do, and that's probably something we want to put, like this logic we want to put in some other node. What more do we do? We're gonna have to add a rigid body node. Lighter. Yeah, we have bone colliders as well. Is this gonna be an option? How do we handle this? Like here, it's probably like I'm wondering when it comes to the. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to take this vertex list. We're gonna have to flip the normals of all of them. We're gonna add colliders. Like, we're gonna do a lot of stuff. Like, initially we can probably put all of this into the node itself. So maybe this is a maybe the bone collider is an option, a toggle. So if we want bones to have colliders, we add two inputs, radius and center and so on. Or we just add a collider input, actually. Yeah, maybe that's... Yeah, that's probably what we want to do. Yeah, I guess we can start with like having a lot of logic in the skin mesh node. So the skin mesh node is going to take a list of vertices, or a vertex list, and it's going to convert each of those vertices into actual bones, and then we skin. Okay. Yeah, and then we're gonna include this one, the transform of it. I think we are gonna include the rigid body as well. That is gonna be a toggle. We're gonna include the collider as well. That's gonna be a toggle. Joints. Fuck, maybe we should even. If we include joints as well, now this is like where I think we're overstepping a bit. Bones, skinning something to a mesh has nothing to do with joints. Actually, maybe it does. You know what? Whoa. Okay, what about... Okay, as I see it, we have two approaches. Like, split up the vertex list or not, or handle the vertex list as one object in the graph or as multiple separate objects. Because now I'm wondering if we want to have an armature node. That's also... Yeah, that's very weird. Well, something that would be extremely nice to have is a for each node, definitely, but it feels a bit weird. Okay, I think we're gonna put all of this into one node initially. I'm gonna postpone this. I'm gonna add some comments, like maybe we should take this and split it into its own node and so on. So it's gonna be a very, very heavy node here, because we're gonna set up rigid body, bone colliders, and joints all in one node, and we're gonna do skinning as well. So yeah, this is gonna be pretty insane, I think. But then again, yeah, I think we're gonna do... Okay, let's do it like this. Generators. Okay, what the hell is this? Procedural, random, converters, functionality, repeat. Okay, alters. I guess it's procedural, or maybe. Okay, I think we're gonna put it in alters for now. So we're gonna have a... I don't know if that is true though. Yeah, let's put it here. So we're gonna have a in mesh editor node. And then I wonder, oops, if yeah, I think we're gonna do this. We have toggles on keep ratio random editor node. So I think we're gonna do undefined options. So what options do we have? We have rigid body, we have collider, and we have joint or configurable joint, etc. I wonder if these are the only additional things we want to add to the bone. Probably. So we're gonna have a private constraint rigid body internal name. What happened here? Okay. And here we do bool Yes. Something like this. Let's see how it looks. Cashless rigid body collider configurable joint. I think that's nice. So depending on what we add or not here, we're gonna add additional inputs. Right, but one input we're always gonna have, or two inputs we're always gonna have here, is undefined ports. We are gonna have dynamic mesh to mesh editor node. We're always gonna have this one. Fucking hell, what do we want to output here actually? Like, we want to have... No. Okay. I think we wanna do... Yeah, we wanna have a skinned mesh renderer, actually. I guess we want to have both of these. So in skin mesh editor node, and you know what, I think we want output as well. But we want to have one more input. We want to have... Here we want to have a vertex list. Can we get... Yes. So that's the options we're always gonna have. So when we want to skin a mesh, we send in a skin mesh renderer and then a list of vertices that is going to be the bones. Like this. And then we can have rigid body, which will add a rigid body. I wonder, do we have any options for adding... I think this is going to be good. Skinned mesh render. Yeah, we're going to have to work with that one. Set mesh editor node. This one actually... Okay, game object... Set mesh editor node. Maybe we should have an option here, because this one currently adds a mesh renderer and a mesh filter. But we definitely want to have the option to add a skin mesh renderer instead. And set material as well. Yeah, we're gonna have to take a look at those. Set mesh. Runtime node. We actually check for skin mesh here. So... Game object mesh. Yeah, we actually check for skin mesh runner here. That's pretty cool. Set material then. Ah, fuck yeah, we check for skin mesh runner here as well, so that's beautiful. But set mesh runtime node. Yeah. If we don't get this one nor this one, we actually add a mesh filter. Scafer, let's see. If you come around any good write-ups or stuff like that related to decals, I would definitely appreciate you sending them, because I've never worked with them, but like a few years ago I started doing research on utilizing them, and it was very... It felt like everybody was using them a little bit differently. That makes sense. Hey, CodeCube, my internet died for a sec there. Welcome back, welcome back. And the worst part about building your own tech is that you have nothing to blame but your own incompetence. Hell yeah. Okay, skin mesh. So what I'm thinking of doing here as well is here we're gonna add some options. What node do we have that have options like that? Dynamic mesh. Okay, dynamic mesh generator. Come on. There we go. So basically what I want to do is we want to get some information here. Cool, and we're going to do use rigid or add rigid body, and we're gonna do rigid like this, and then we want to do, can't we just do, yeah, if add rigid body, and we add an output port rigid body. Yes. Yeah, why not? Something like this. Yeah, we probably want to add that one as well. Code Cube, Unity decals are pretty cool. I remember using them to fake shadows for a game jam game I made, which came in second place. Congratulations. Code Cube Robin, just curious, how cold does it get in Sweden? Like worst cold? Honestly, I have no idea. Sweden is pretty long on the vertical. I should know the exact word for it. Latitude, maybe. So up at top in Sweden it gets pretty damn cold, but down where I live, down south, I think this year the coldest we had was like -5 degrees, I think. Scaper Code Cube knows what's up. Yes, indeed. Where do we have? Here we have our skin mesh editor node. So if we do rigid body, oh, we added it as output. That's not good. But that's an easy fix. That is how we want to do it. Code Cube, me sitting here knowing I have to be out in -20 degrees in 3 hours. Yeah, that's fucking cold, man. That's almost skin cream cold. Like when you have to apply creams so the cold doesn't hurt your skin. Okay, that's frostbite cold. But okay, yeah, I think something like this, and then we're probably gonna add some custom nodes for rigid body collider and configurable joint. Game object instantiator editor node, we will probably, yeah. We can probably rename these as well. But the idea then is that we add welcome back, Antonino. So the idea is that we add set mesh here, we add a skinned mesh renderer here, so we have a game object. In fact, do I want to send the game object here? Maybe. You know what? This one should probably be a game object, shouldn't it? Yeah, it should. Or yeah, it should. I think. So first we call set mesh, and then skin mesh. Or yeah, this is what I hate with doing the procedural skinning. It feels like it's weirdly split up between what belongs to the mesh and what belongs to the skinned mesh renderer, but that might be because I don't know that much about this sort of thing, but like you have, when you skin a mesh, you have like half of the setup in the mesh and half of the setup in the skin mesh renderer. So if you look at this, bind poses and bone weights in the mesh makes sense, but then you have references to the bones here and root bones. Okay, that's true. How do I want to build this in, or have this in my graph? Antonino, I want to make a game, but I have no free time. I've been there. I mean, sometimes you're in a place in life where you don't actually have to time to do what you want to do, right? Then it feels like the goal is to like make small adjustments to your life so you get that time, if you know what I mean. Code Cube, Robin, you said you live in south of Sweden. Do you live in Lund? I know of a few people there. Hell yeah, I do. I mean, it's a pretty damn international town in Sweden. Or small city. Like when I see this, I wonder if I want to send in mesh as the parameter or if I want to send in the skinned mesh renderer. Code Cube, it's beautiful down there, much better than where I live at least. It's like beautiful down here for what is it, 6 months, a year maybe. Like the fall or autumn can become, or can be pretty damn depressing and grey. A lot of rain. Similar to like the early spring. I'm talking about like March. Sams might have driven through Lund, but can't remember anything about it. Like if you just drive on the highway through Lund, you pretty much see nothing of Lund. It's built in such a way that yeah, you just drive like on the outskirts or but down like in the city center of Lund you have a lot of extremely old buildings and stuff like that, which are beautiful. Code Cube, well, some buildings and stuff are awesome there, but we don't ever get rain or green grass. It all looks yellow and sad. Oh, Code Cube, have you actually been to Lund as well? I love this city, but yeah, as I said, like a few months a year, it's pretty depressing here in the south of Sweden. Okay, if I take a step back and look at my graph and what I actually want to achieve with the graph, we're procedurally generating the mesh, right? So this is not a mesh we're gonna reuse. which means that like doing bind poses, like when we set the bind poses and bone weights of the mesh, it's only going to be used for this particular instance, which means that we might just bind it together with this one. So when we set the bind poses, we might as well do smr.shared mesh, maybe like this, and then we take both of these and move them down here. So I wonder if we can do something like this instead, which means that we just send in the skin mesh renderer, but in that case we might just send in the game object instead. That might be better. So when we have skin mesh, maybe we can rename it skin game object, and it's implied that we fetch the skin mesh renderer and shared mesh, if this works, that is. But I think it does. I'm pretty sure that's how we're gonna do it. Yeah. And yeah, we're also gonna have to do when we do procedural skeleton, when we add procedural armatures like this, we also need to incorporate this in some way, and this is fucking weird. So when you import something with an armature and animation from a third-party program like Blender, is this actually implied in your models and armatures? Like, because when my character runs around, the normals get updated automatically, but for procedural skinning we have to do this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this, but okay, this works, I just don't know how optimized it is. Code Cube, everyone around me is always so confused when I get so excited at rain. We never get it here. Once or twice a year if you're lucky. Damn. But that's, I much, I guess it's like what you're used to and not, but like I much prefer snow over rain. But I guess that's because we don't get that much snow down here, you know. Antonino, do you know how much a full stack developer get where you live? Like, that's like, it's a very broad question. Like, you can earn a lot as a full stack developer here, but you can also earn little. But like, doesn't have LinkedIn have a lot of stats like that you can check out, and then you get like what they're being paid in your vicinity and stuff like that. Fuck, I wonder about this one. I think we're gonna add this as a component as well. Fixed update. Do we want to do this in fixed update, or yeah, we actually want to do this in fixed update, I think. It feels like, you know what? I think we're gonna rename this one Skin Mesh Editor Node. This one should not be Skin Mesh. It's not gonna be as general as that. It's actually gonna be like add soft body or something like that. Yeah, 20k a year. Yeah, that's pretty low balled. Okay, but then, okay. So I think we're gonna change this one to add soft body editor node. We're gonna remove these toggles because we're always gonna have them, and I just need to run AFK real quick, but when we get back we're gonna rename this one and rework a few things. Be right back. Okay, back. Sorry about that. Let's fix this one. Skin Mesh Editor Node. Let's rename it, first of all. Or I want to move it. So alters, we're gonna do setters. Yeah. we're gonna call it skin mesh editor node. Add soft body. Editor node. I'm gonna put it here. And then we just remove all of this. We just remove this. And then we do and yeah, rigid body, collider, and configurable joints. Guess we're gonna jump to these. Okay, so we do this. And I guess now I removed, I guess the, okay, we're gonna have later on, I would like in a perfect world, I would like to have that we just take the mesh here and calculate these vertices from that mesh. That would be beautiful, but I will see. Yo, what's up, PG King? Good morning, good morning. And I also want to change this one to PG King. How is everything going today? Pretty good, pretty good. How about you? Okay, so we do a game object instead, which means set mesh. Okay, I want to change set mesh editor node. I want to be able to make it so that we can decide if it should be a skin mesh renderer or not. So alter King overall okay, still sick. Hopefully it's getting better and better and not worse and worse, right? So let's start with this one. Set mesh editor node. We want to add a define options. And not geometry type, but something like this will work for now. The ports are always going to be the same for now, I think. And then we want to get this use skin mesh, and then we want to send it in here. I just don't know. Set mesh runtime node. King, yeah, get going better and better, just slowly. Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Oh, don't. Yeah, here we have it. So I want to add bool use skin mesh renderer. Something like this, and that's not really what we want. Instead, we're gonna do maybe if use let's see here. What do we have here? We try and get it. If it's null, we add it, and then we do shared mesh is equal to mesh. Otherwise, we do mesh filter. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Did I just return true here too early? Because yeah, we definitely want to do this. Okay, that wasn't implemented very well, but something like this. So try and get game objects, try and get mesh. If we use skin mesh renderer, we try to get it, otherwise we add it. And then we do shared mesh. Yeah. Okay, I think this is good. So then we send in use skin mesh renderer here, finally. And I'm pretty sure this is this task. We're gonna have to test it soon. Or we're going to test it soon. So now we have a little bit of a toggle here, skinned mesh. That is good. I think we might as well take this one here, actually. But anyway. So set mesh, and then we add this one. And we want to return a game object as well, which is going to be here. Set material, yeah. Add soft body, add output port. Yeah, this one is going to be a game object. Okay, so like this. Oh, do we have an error here? Oh yeah, of course. We try to. Of course, we try to output it, or we try to save it while we can't right now. Derek, can you catch me up on what you're working on right now? Yeah, definitely. So last week and the week before that, we implemented a quick procedural skinning script, right? We wanted to try some things out where we generate a set of bones and then we skin a mesh to those bones. We pretty much, to keep it short, we are procedurally generating a soft body for our blobs, right? I'm just trying to take this implementation we have now, like this test implementation, and add it to our graph system. So we will be able to define and randomize the soft body physics of each individual blob at generation. So pretty much what I want to achieve is that we're gonna generate two different blobs. One is gonna be like very firm and one will be a little bit more jelly, you know, and all of this will be defined in here using these graphs. And this will also, like, what I want to do eventually is I want to use this graph and I want to generate like 100 different blobs with very different parameters, and I will see which parameters looks the best, and then we can constrain the randomization a bit. Derek, I'm stoked as well. Do you ever plan on tackling the transparency? There's quite a few issues with the transparency, so you're gonna have to you're gonna have to be a bit more specific, and I will try not to answer. I guess we're also gonna have to... Yeah, we're gonna have to generate some of these nodes, I guess. Constants, or do we have it here? Can we do a rigid body? The rigid body we probably want to... Yeah, we want to randomize a lot of stuff here, so... Yeah, Collider I think we have though, don't we? Set Collider... Yeah, look at this. Okay, so Collider we already have. Sphere, we can choose the Collider for each bone here, or soft body. That's pretty cool. Oh, set Collider. Yeah. Ah, fuck. Okay. Okay, set Collider. We'll probably wanna change set Collider in such a way that it takes a Collider as input, I think. So we're gonna have split. But actually, now when I think about it, can you... Yeah, you should be able to. So split set Collider into set Collider and generate Collider. So I guess it's... Because what I want to add now is we want to have a node for generate rigid body, generate Collider, and generate configurable joint. And we're gonna have a lot of inputs for these, I think. Derek, sorry, when I asked about the transparency, I meant being able to see other slimes through slimes. Made me need some sort of render order independent transparent solution. I've been thinking about this problem, and like this is a big problem when it comes to transparency rendering, where you want the transparency to refract and change what is seen behind it, right? So our blobs aren't simply being rendered as transparent objects, because if they were, then we could 100% rely on like the blend commands for our shaders, right? We could just do blend alpha 1 minus alpha, and then you would be able to see blobs through another, or blobs behind blobs, you know. But what we're doing right now is when we have a blob, we actually want to distort what is seen through it, so the environment should be distorted, but not the other blobs. Or, sorry about that, that's wrong, but like we want to distort what is seen through the blobs, right? So we read the scene texture, the only problem being that the transparent object hasn't been rendered to the scene texture yet. But that is probably or hopefully something we can fix. I'm just not entirely sure how yet, and if it's going to be worth it, you know? Derek, I think it'd be cool to see you explore the dithering solution people use to solve that. I imagine you could do something really cool stuff to solve it. Oh, we have talked about that previously, right? Did you send me a link about? I'm gonna write it down. Let's see if I might already have it written down here actually. Oops. But I'm gonna try. We have like Easter coming up here, so I'm gonna have some more free time than I usually do. I'm gonna see if I can do some research on it, because I would love to explore it on stream. Like, I'm at a stage right now where I'm okay that blobs are not visible through other blobs, but if I during my research see that it can be done in a nice fashion, I would love to explore it on stream. So yeah, CodeCube, like the biggest problem with rendering transparent objects behind transparent objects using refraction is not depth or anything like that. It's just like there really exists no data on what's behind it, you know? Derek, dithering slimes rendered over each other with each one's strength weight using depth, and then blurring that result is what I picture when I think about it. Let me just straight up copy that comment and I will remember it when I'm doing the research. Because yeah, like that is definitely something that is annoying to me. Like when I watch my recent short where my character is running through this sea of blobs, it hurts me when I can clearly see that blobs are not visible through other blobs. But yeah. We want to add generate rigid body node, add generate generate rigid body node and generate configurable joint node. Save. Code cube refraction is annoying to work out for me because you have to blend between two rays at some angles, meaning you have to make multiple rays. Yeah, like at the core, like screen space refraction as we're doing is extremely simple. But you do get like a few artifacts that are extremely annoying. But okay, I think we can, like the reason I want these generate rigid body and generate collider and generate configurable joint nodes here is because we're gonna do this shit. We're gonna like overuse our random editor nodes or our random nodes, because rigid body weight is gonna be randomized. Rigid body, like everything rigid body is gonna be randomized quite a lot. Code cube Robin using an organized to-do list while my to-do list is a profanity filled mess that just says completed next to what I wrote. Yeah, like I'm trying to be more and more organized, and I mean it's in a good state right now, but like I still have like a couple of to-dos. Like I have my issue to-dos here, which are the most well structured, but then we also have this one, which is small quick things, right? And sometimes they become a little bit out of sync and stuff like that, but yeah. Okay, let's see here. Let's add generators. Let's add a rigid body generator editor node. I've been wanting to do a rigid body generator editor node for quite a while. Right now we have something like creature spawner, generate instance. Like right now we have some or I have something weird like this. Where do we have it? Like this here. We previously said it somewhere here, but actually I think it's in creature. Yeah, here. What the fuck is this? Like instantiate from definition, and we do this. This should already be added to the object through the graph toolkit, right? And that's what we're trying to do now. So let's see what we have. Rigid body generator editor node. Holy shit, did I have to copy the biggest one? Okay, return null here initially to runtime node. Okay, we're gonna have a lot of options here as well, and a lot of ports. Rigid body generator editor node. And let's take a quick look at what properties we want to start with and what properties we can wait with. Character rigid body. Mass, definitely want mass. Linear damping and angular damping, I think we can wait with those. Automatic center of mass, automatic tensor, use gravity. Use gravity. Should be true by default. Is kinematic false, interpolate. Yeah, you know what? I think interpolate and collision detection. Constraints, definitely want constraints. And then we have layers. Okay, so I think this is what we're gonna start with. So define options. Yeah, we're gonna do mass. Oops. Okay, let's do something like this. And the options, I'm very mass, use gravity, beautiful. That's exactly what I want, I think. Collision detection mode. And then we have rigid body constraints. Okay, beautiful. Let's take a look at how this one looks. Code Cube, yeah, I wouldn't rely too much on the view counter every second. And Code Cube, well, I have to get ready and get my stuff together as I have to go in an hour and a half. I thank you for dropping by as always, appreciate it, and have a great rest of the day. Rigid body generator editor node. How does this one look? Oh, that is pretty okay, I'm worried about this one, but so we can change mass here. Fuck, I would like to set the icon to rigid body icon. Do we have the possibility to do stuff like that? That would be insane. But we can do mass, we can use, and then we can do interpolate, collision detection, and constraints. This one is a little bit maybe that's good enough. We'll see, I guess. We don't actually lock rotation, do we? In our test, we do it for these though. Limited. Okay, but I think this is a good start. This one, undefined ports. Oh, you know what? Mass is gonna be... Makes me wonder if we want to have... we're just gonna start with mass. Mass is actually gonna be an input because we're gonna do it like this. Because what I eventually want to do for not only for the bones, but like for all of the creatures, we want to randomize weight. So we're gonna have a random node like this. We're gonna have a float, cashless. Yeah. So we're gonna do this for the mass. So we can do between 1 and 2. And that's our rigid body. Yeah, we definitely want an output as well. So we're gonna have a... I just have to say once again that like working with these working with the graph toolkit has been pretty damn nice actually. There we go. Fucking hell, that's pretty cool. In this case, we probably want this one to have a cache because each bone should weight the same, I think. And then we want the collider as well. So that's... Or do I want to do the... Yeah, we probably want to do the runtime first. So rigid body generator runtime node. Generators. Rigid body. I'm a little bit afraid. Is it weird to just instantiate a rigid body randomly? Like, it's a component. Do we have to? Yeah, maybe this isn't possible the way I'm thinking it is. We'll see. Okay. There we... VS Code, VS Code, VS Code. There we go. Welcome back, Antonino. Again. Okay, I'm a little bit afraid that we might not be able to... what's that big wall of text by Coder Cube? That's usually how he talks, isn't it? Or I mean, like, wall of texts aren't anything unusual. This is a problem for my design here. This sucks. But maybe... Okay, I know. We're gonna have to fake it pretty much. We're gonna have like a rigid body generator editor node. It's gonna be like a rigid body setup. Rigid body setup. But then we might as well just send it in as data. Fuck, I don't know. What I'm getting at here is that we can't create a rigid body object at this point, but we can create like a rigid body data object that has all of the properties we want our rigid body to eventually have. But that's okay, like that's entirely okay, I think. So we're gonna add a... So we have data here, we have transform data, we have polygon and vertex list. We're gonna have rigid body data, collider data, and configurable joint data. And at some points, we're actually gonna convert these data to proper colliders and such. So in set collider editor node, this one is actually going to take a collider eventually. That's where we transform it to an actual collider and add it. That's one way to do it. Or you know what, I think that's the only way to do it, unless we want to go with how we've done it here. Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. So yeah, let's just duplicate this one. Is it a struct? Yeah, nice. Rigid body data. And I guess these are exactly what we want. So we want public float mass. Public bool use gravity. This one I don't care for right now. Public rigid body interpolation, collision detection, and constraints. And then can we get this? Yes. Do something like this, and editor node. The output here is not going to be a rigid body, but rather a rigid body data. Antonino, Robin Sable, have you started creating a story for the game? Why do you capture monsters? What do I do with them? Are they normally aggressive? What's the purpose of capturing them, and so on? Yeah, I have an outline of the story, and some parts are extremely specific, some are not. But what it all comes down to pretty much is I want to lean more into the happy do good type of game, as opposed to destroy and use type of game. So what I'm talking about, like, the purpose is not going to be to try and capture and get as many creatures as possibly to kill them for food. It's more gonna be to try and get them and take care of them as a I don't know, a puppy kernel, is that the word for it? Like, you wanna create good living conditions for the creatures so that they can live and prosper and become more and not become extinct. Does that make sense? It's gonna be as pets, yes. What's up, Cooler SK? It's not as much as a mystery as you would think. But like think of it as a rescue pound for dogs. I haven't played Slime Rancher, unfortunately, but it's probably not too far off. But then, of course, I do want to have functionality that supports like killing your creatures for food, but that's not going to be the main goal. The main goal is probably going to be to take care of these creatures, make them be as happy as possible, and breed them to get the best creature, and then you enter them into like small mini games, like run competition and stuff like that. And then depending on how you have bred them and fed them, they will do better or worse in those competitions. I guess I want a more detailed version of the Chow Garden minigame in Sonic Adventure 2. Min-maxing stats to get the best creature, definitely, but you're gonna min-maxing stats to get the best creature for a specific job. So one competition might be a good thing to have a very heavy creature, like a fat creature, but that won't be good in a running competition, for instance. And then you're gonna have creatures that are better at running quick and yeah, stuff like that. Cooler SK, we have grass, we have water, and soon we will have some nice blobs. That I promise you. Okay, we're gonna wait with the runtime versions of these and do editor first. How do I want to do with the collider data? Not entirely sure how we want to do with collider generator editor node. Antonino, sorry if I ask that many questions. No, not at all. Ask how many questions you want. I love answering these type of questions. How many creatures are you planning to make? Because breeding open doors to so many combinations. I don't think you're gonna... Like, I don't want to support breeding between different type of creatures. So... let's say we have two creatures at the moment. We have stone creatures and we have blob creatures. I don't think... Maybe a few select creatures will be able to do interbreeding, or whatever it's called. But like, for now, I don't want blobs to be able to breed with stone creatures. So it's just gonna be like blob on blob and stone on stone, if you know what I mean. Which means that we have a lot more control over the diversity or different combinations, and it's much easier to implement. What's up, Klaus Santos? Breeding would be cool, but you need to keep it within the type. Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm thinking. Or you could, you know, maybe like we could allow for some different type breeding, you know, like you have tiger and lion in real life, because that would open up doors to some cool hidden type of creatures. But we will get there eventually. Right now I'm just focusing on the blobs, and we're gonna get the breeding in place later on. But like Antonino, never feel bad for asking questions about the game. I love getting questions about the game and answering them. But unfortunately I need to run now. I will be back tomorrow for another 3 hours of stream, and we will continue with this graph implementation and hopefully finish it, so we will be able to get a few different soft body type blobs. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you for the follow as well, Klaus Santos. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Peace.